Hello, we're going to look at some application problems involving percent. And so it's in 0.11. So chapter 0, section 11. So let's get to it and see how we do. They tell you in your book that the word of, they say that you can translate using keywords, and they have a lot of keyword problems here. And the word of, they say, transfers into multiply. So, and I'm going to use it at times like that. And then they say the word is translates into equals. And then when they say what number, you should put in. And when they say what percent, I put P. And that reminds me to convert it into a percent. And so anytime that you're going to solve one of these problems, when you come to like 15%, if you're going to use it to solve, you need to change this into a decimal. So as I come along here, it says what number, and so I put in. It says is, so I put equals. It says 15%, so I transfer that into a decimal, so that's 0.15. And then it says of, which is multiply. And because of the decimal, I like to write times with parentheses when I'm timesing in these things, because usually they have a decimal in them. So of is times, and then 75. So I kind of went along, and then now I can find out what in is simply by multiplying those two things together. And you can use your calculator to multiply those things together. So 0.15 times 75. And my calculator says that's 45 over 4, which is the same as 11.25. So either one of those is good. 11.25 is good, and also whatever the other one was, I don't remember now, 45 over 4 is good as well. Perfect. You could also put 11 and a quarter. That would have also been good answer for N. So they're all good. Then here it says what percent, so I'm going to put P, of 70, so times 70, I don't have a decimal, so I'm going to use my times that way, is equals 14. And then I'd like to solve for P. And we don't normally have P times 70. What we're more used to is 70P. They mean exactly the same thing. But either way, if you rewrote it or you don't rewrite it, you would, to solve this, it's not just simple arithmetic like it was here. It is no distributive property, no like terms to combine, no addition or subtraction. It's just the last step, which put your finger on P and divide by what you see. So you're going to be dividing 70 by 14 by 70. So this is P equals, and whether you write that as a reduced fraction or you leave it as 14 over 70, it doesn't matter. But what our percentage is being represented as right now as 1/5 is as a fraction. But they asked me, and you could be writing it as a decimal if you wanted. That would be 0.2 as a decimal. So either one of these, but that's not what they asked me for. What they asked me for was the percentage. So I need to either convert this to a percent or convert that to a percent. And either way, you'll get the same answer. How you convert to a percent is you simply multiply by 100%, and that will convert to a percent. So if I take 1/5 and I multiply it by 100%, I get 20%, right? And if I take 0.2 and I multiply it by 100%, I get 20%. So either one, it doesn't matter which one that you say that you have, but you want it written not as a fraction, not as a decimal, but as a percent, because they asked you what percent. So the answer would be 20%. And so we did a lovely job on that. And then this one says 16 is equals, right? So our keywords. And then 20%, you need to write that as a decimal. So that's 0.20 of what number. And so here, because I already have the decimal going, then when I write my of for times, right, multiply, I'll put parentheses instead of the dot, and then what number. And I want to solve for n. And so I notice all I have to do is the last step, which is put your finger on n and divide by what you see. And so we had our keywords going all the way around. So I'm going to be dividing by 0.20 and also by 0.20 over here. So that n, and then we're going to have 16 divided by 0.2, which is 80. You could put that in your calculator like I just did, or just like you see it here, and 80. Hot diggity dog. So they asked me what the number is. The number is 80. Now I don't have to convert that into a percent because they said what number, not what percent. So that's often something that people do wrong, is they forget what they were finding. And this problem is a word problem, and it's an example. I believe it's an example in your textbook. So the American Dietetic Association recommends eating foods in which the number of calories from fat is less than 30% of the total number of calories. According to the nutrition label, what percentage of the total number of calories are fat calories? And they almost give you the whats and the ofs and the ises here if you follow along here in the question. What percent, so that's P, of, that's times, the total number of calories, and that is either a variable or a number. So we're going to go see if we can see the total number of calories. The total number of calories, I believe, is 155. R, and I think that's, it could say is fat calories, but then it would have bad English, right? And so this R is, and then fat calories. And then I'm going to go look at fat calories from fat is 93. So is 93. And then, so I kind of came up with an equation, just kind of reading the ofs and the ises going along. And I'm going to put my finger on P and divide by what I see. So I'm going to be dividing by 155. And then that's going to be giving me my percent as a fraction. And it might reduce, it might not, I don't know. But 93 over 155, I believe. Was it 150? How come I put 153 here? Do you guys know? And do I have 155 there? I do. So 93 divided by 155, right? 155 both sides. And so, oh, it does reduce. It reduces to 3/5. And so this is my percent written as a fraction. If I wanted, I could write it as a decimal. But they don't, that's not what they're asking for. What they're asking for me is to write it as a percentage. And so either way, I have to either take this and multiply it by 100 or multiply this by 100. This one's easier, the decimal, right? And so this is 60%. And so whatever this was, the nutrition facts for, I don't know if it said in the book what it was for, it's a little higher than what they were wanting, huh? Is it potato chips? I don't know. Potato chips sound pretty good, though. Okay, so that was 0.11, Chapter 0, Section 11.